And all of these men had humble beginnings. God had greatly blessed in their life. But oftentimes when God blesses, we begin to pat ourselves on the back as though we lifted ourselves up by our own bootstraps. And I'm telling you, there is an awful, awful, awful snare when God chooses to bless someone. Matter of fact, I'm telling you, if you're really blessed by God, it's far more difficult to handle the blessings of God than it is to handle the poverty, the difficulty things in life. So pride is best defined as having an exalted opinion of yourself, conceited. Bible says in Philippians chapter 2 and verse 3, let nothing be done through selfish ambition or conceit, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem others better than himself. Let each of you look out not only for his own interests, but also for the interests of others. So we should concern ourselves with the needs of others, the concerns of others. One of the major problems in a church is that sometimes you can begin to think that it really is all about you. I'm glad we got music out there that we sing that remind us of this. We need music and we need messages, that it's not about us, but it's about the Lord Jesus. And it's not only about him, it really is about others. And so we ought to be coming to church, and attitude ought to not be, what's this church offer me? But if Jesus calls me into this fellowship, what can I offer? What gifts and services would God have me to render in his name? See, pride prompts people to push for their own way. To be conceited leads one to seek their own personal glory, which is the motivation of selfish ambition. In Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 34, James chapter 4 verse 6, 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 5, pride is magnified in repetition. Listen to Proverbs 3:34. Surely he, God, scorns the scornful, but he gives grace to the humble. The word humble is an interesting word. It is he who bends himself. Isn't that good? He bends himself. You don't pray, oh God, make me humble. He may break your leg. But what you do is you humble yourself. A humble person is one who bends himself before God. They realize that the way up is down. The way to be a blessing is to serve, to be there for others. Jesus said, I didn't come to be ministered to. I came to minister and to give my life a ransom for many. So he bends himself. So when you get up in the morning, that ought to be the way you find yourself in position. You bend yourself before God with an open Bible in your devotional guides, and you ask God, clothe me in humility. That's what Peter prayed for, that fisherman that knew that he could be full of pride and he could speak when he shouldn't speak. He could say things that he couldn't back up later until God brought him to the point that he would get up and bend himself.